Should Beyonce have won Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter at the Grammys this year? Let's talk about it. First, let's set some ground rules for the comment section or just anybody who's watching this video. Music is subjective, so just because I have an opinion on certain musical artists, maybe your favorite artist or someone in general, it doesn't mean it's a matter of fact. It is my opinion. Unless I state that something is a matter of a fact, then it's a fact. Otherwise, it's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't be mad at it. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. However, I think with the Grammys this year and the Grammys in general, there are a lot of people who fail to understand how they work. They also fail to understand the history that comes with some of the music that's been put out, as well as what makes a song, an artist, or an album win an award at the Grammys. So let's unpack that. First and foremost, I want to say at the Grammys this year, there were so many amazing artists nominated, so many women that were nominated. So I don't want to take away from anybody. I will not take away from anybody because all the music that has been put out has been absolutely incredible. One thing that's driving me absolutely insane is that people are saying that Beyonce did not deserve Album of the Year at the Grammys this year. I saw someone on TikTok, it's slipping my mind what their name is, but they made an entire video of like the history of Beyonce and the Grammys. Basically what Beyonce has gone through with the Grammys and just everything. Just to give you a little gist of it, every single time that Beyonce has put out an album that has made some sort of shift in the musical culture, in the musical industry, she was never awarded Album of the Year. So think about self-titled Beyonce, the album that she released by surprise on a Friday on MTV. It was the first visual album I think that we've ever seen. And the thing about that album is that the way it was put together was so methodical, especially with the visual album. Everything flowed into each other. She also set the standard for all musical artists to then release their music on Fridays. It just became a standard because Beyonce did it. Did that win Album of the Year? No. His creator then went on to say Lemonade. Lemonade was culturally a huge album. So many people were talking about it. It also gave you hits. It was also another album that you could not listen to unless you listened to the whole thing all together. You could not skip around. You had to listen to it all together. Also another visual album. On top of that, this creator said that it was a love letter to the Black community, Black culture, Black history, everything. Did it win Album of the Year? No. Renaissance, a tribute to Black culture, club music, electronic music, the LGBTQ community, so many different communities. Also another album that you really couldn't listen to unless you listened to everything all together. Did it win Album of the Year? No. Cowboy Carter, the significance of Cowboy Carter, to me at least, was as someone who doesn't like country music, it made me like country music. And that was a huge stat that came with Cowboy Carter, that it made people who did not like country music and stream it more. And you can say, oh, Cowboy Carter is not country, it's whatever. Then you might have only listened to maybe 2 songs off the album, one of them being Texas Hold'em, which is the went to number 1 on the country charts. Also, it is a country song, Texas Hold'em. It's a very yeehaw, get down country. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Was Cowboy Carter my favorite album? No. Do I still understand the significance of Cowboy Carter? Yes. Beyonce is a Black woman who was, one, when she performed at the CMAs, not welcomed by the country community or the genre at all. Apparently there was people in the audience shouting racist remarks at her when she was performing with the Chicks. So with this album, it's not only her branching off into a genre like country, but it's also reclaiming it, I feel like, for Black people, because there is so much history rooted in Black culture for country music. I took a class in college called African American Popular Music, from blues to hip hop, and it just showed you how much influence Black culture has had on music, all the way from blues to hip hop. So I was learning about Muddy Waters, I was learning about Missy Elliott, I was learning about Beyonce at one point, and then it was just crazy. You don't understand, unless you're learning about it or you're exposing yourself to it, how much influence the Black community has had on music, especially country music. So I almost feel like Cowboy Carter was Beyonce reclaiming the genre in a sense, and also educating people on where this music came from, and also paying tribute to those who came before her. Did Taylor Swift have a great album? Absolutely. Did she have a great streaming year? Absolutely. Did Billie Eilish have a great album? Yes. Did she have a great streaming year? Same with Chappell Roan, same with Sabrina Carpenter. Did Charli XCX? Yes. Brat was a phenomenon in the music industry. We are going to be seeing classes pop up where people are teaching about the Brat rollout and the album. The thing about the Grammys is it doesn't matter what your streaming numbers were. It doesn't matter how much you made in sales in your concerts. It doesn't matter how many people were talking about you on the internet. It matters what the 13,000 people that are a part of the Grammy Music Academy decide is the winner. Those 13,000 people voted on all the albums to decide who they thought was the album of the year. So many people are posting charts of Taylor Swift's the Tortured Poets department, of all of the stats that it's had. That's for the Billboard Music Awards. The Billboard Music Awards is when Billboard charts come into play. If you were #1 for an X amount of time, Shaboozey would win a Billboard Music Award because he was #1 for a while. Die With a Smile will win something at the Billboard Music Awards. I want to say Sabrina Carpenter will because she charted 3 songs in the top 10. Also, I think they were like back to back to back, the top 3 or something like that. Those are where those awards come into play. The Grammys is completely different. It's voted on by people who are in the industry, the peers of those artists. You can't just sit here and say it didn't deserve it because of streaming numbers. That's just not how it works. When Beyonce won for Album of the Year and all the awards at the Grammys, the streaming numbers went up on Cowboy Carter by 700% or more, which leads me to believe that not only are people revisiting the album to listen to it and enjoy it now that it is an Album of the Year winner, but there are also probably so many people who are like, oh wait, I really can't talk about it because I didn't listen to the whole thing. And now they're going to listen to the whole thing, and now they're formulating real opinions based on fact, based on what, or subjectivity of what they've listened to. I do want to say I am a Beyonce stan, but I am not into toxic stan culture, so I'm not going to fight for people or fight for artists that I like unless there's a valid reason. Some people can't say the same, but I do want to say I don't think anybody in that category did not deserve Album of the Year. Anybody could have won that. I think I would be disappointed in the fact that Beyonce didn't win it again, because it just goes to show that the Grammys were actively against her. But considering that she won, it leads me to believe that people are recognizing that this was a good album, inclusive of the fact that the other albums were also good. Billie Eilish was crying at the Grammys when Beyonce won Album of the Year, and a lot of people are saying that Billie was crying because she didn't win any awards that night, and I highly disagree. No one actually knows for a fact why she was crying because she didn't talk about it. She hasn't spoken up about it. All we heard was Phineas posted saying, don't argue with other fans. My honest opinion and take on the whole thing is I do not think that Billie Eilish was crying because she did not win any awards at the Grammys that night. I think Billie Eilish was crying because she got to watch an artist that she looks up to, an artist that has actively gone through struggles with the Grammys, an artist that she has spoken about liking. She got to watch Beyonce win an award that she has been fighting to win for so many years, ending this drought that she had. And Billie got to be in the room and witness that. I think that's why she was crying. She was crying for Beyonce, on Beyonce's behalf, almost like, you did it, Beyonce. I am so happy for you. And my reasoning for saying that is because we have seen Billie Eilish time and time again sweep award shows, win multiple awards, and every single time she gets up on that stage to accept the award, her speech almost always includes her saying to another artist in the category that she thinks they deserved it over her, even though she's there holding the award. Ariana Grande, for example, when Billie Eilish won, I think at the Grammys a couple years ago, it might have been for album, because Thank You Next was nominated. Billie won and was like, I don't deserve this. Ariana Grande, you had the best album, like, you deserve this. And Ariana Grande was like, girl, have your moment, like, don't worry about it. But Billie still said that. Billie was still emotional in the fact that she feels that the people in the categories with her are also equally as deserving. So you know for a damn fact that if Billie Eilish were to have won Album of the Year over Beyonce, over Taylor Swift, over all those artists, she would have gotten on that stage, and the first thing she would have done, she would have said to Beyonce that she deserved the album, that Cowboy Carter was a masterpiece. She would have done that. I'm a firm believer, because she's done it before, she has a track record. Let the track record show, and facts are facts. Like, she would have done that. Don't think the narrative of her crying is because she was like throwing a fit that she didn't win. I think she's had enough success that she knows how this industry works, and that awards really aren't all it's about. I also want to point out the video that I saw that made me realize that, like, this album, Cowboy Carter, truly deserved Album of the Year. It was the video that was of the crowd when they were announcing the winner, when the LAFD was reading the name, and you saw everybody waiting in anticipation. I bet a pin could drop and you would hear it. And once they announced Cowboy Carter, you saw everyone jump up. Lady Gaga, Cynthia Erivo, Taylor Swift. All, you can watch and look at all of the people who were jumping up and cheering for her and like hugging each other, whatever, as Beyonce went up. And then it cut to the audience. Lady Gaga was crying. Cynthia Erivo was holding her hands. People were rooting for Beyonce because they understand the issues and the struggles that Beyonce as a Black woman in music had to go through with the Grammys to get the recognition that she deserves. And it's crazy to say that because Beyonce is one of the biggest and best artists in music. There is no denying that. But that doesn't go without saying that she has had to break down barriers over time in order to be taken seriously in various parts of the music industry, the Grammys being one of them. Overall, this is one of the best Grammy Awards in a long time. I truly felt like I was watching the old Grammys when I was younger, and what made me excited about the Grammys. So many great artists nominated, all the women dominated. I was so happy to see like Taylor, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Billie, Chapel, Sabrina, Doechii, like all these amazing artists that we normally don't see together were finally in the same room at the same time. Bruno Mars, like all these artists that we used to watch way back when were all in the same room together, and it was insane to see. It feels like we haven't seen that in a while. It gave me hope for the music industry and just like music in general, because music makes people happy, and if we have good music, you know, sometimes we can use it to escape the negative things that are happening in the world. But this was such a great year for the Grammys, and I hate that people were saying, I was seeing a lot of Charli XCX. Sorry, I completely forgot about Charli XCX. I wanted to bring her into this. She won 3 Grammys, so I don't even think she needed Album of the Year. She won a Grammy for electronic album, for Von Dutch, for Apple, I think, or for Von Dutch twice. Like Sabrina Carpenter won 2. I think everybody besides Taylor and Billie won Grammys, rightfully so, and I don't think they need them. Taylor has swept the Grammys before. Billie has swept the Grammys before. I think they understand. I think they all root for each other. They're girls. They want women to succeed. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. I'm like, how did I forget Charli? She's going to Coachella. At the end of the day, I hated watching people get online and say, this Grammys was going so good, but then Beyonce won Album of the Year, the worst Grammys ever. That's dramatic. Like, that's kind of insane. And this is for my Swifties out there. I love Taylor Swift. I loved the Eras Tour. I love her music. I don't think the Tortured Poets Department should be the album that gives Taylor Swift 5 albums of the year. I would love if Reputation, Taylor's version, could be nominated because I think that album deserves a Grammy. Has it gotten a Grammy? I don't think it has. I think Reputation, Taylor's version, if it could be nominated, I'd be like, yeah, give that one Album of the Year because that album deserves a Grammy. Beyonce won Album of the Year. It was an amazing thing to witness. It definitely deserved it in my opinion. But that doesn't go without saying that all the albums nominated deserved it. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to give this video a like, a thumbs up if you will, and make sure to subscribe for more pop culture videos and turn on the notification bell so you know when I post. And that is all for today. Yeehaw!